Woodspring Priory, originally Woodspring or Warspring, is a former Augustinian priory. It is near the scenic limestone promontory of Sandpoint and Middle Hope, owned by the National Trust, beside the Severn estuary about 3 miles, 5 kilometers, northeast of Weston-super-Mare, within the English Unitary Authority of North Somerset. Many of the buildings are Grade I listed, and the whole site is scheduled as an ancient monument. The priory was founded, by William de Courtenay, in the early 13th century, and dedicated to Thomas Becket. The small community built a church and monastic lodgings during the next 100 years. They were Victorian canons who were influenced by the Cistercians, who emphasized manual labor and self-sufficiency so that the clerks who had taken holy orders worked on the farm, as well as providing clergy for surrounding churches. Despite endowments of land, the priory was not wealthy until the 15th century, when further building work, including the current priory church, infirmary and barn, was undertaken. It was dissolved in 1536 and then owned by local noblemen and leased to local farmers. In 1968 the priory and adjoining land of Middle Hope was purchased by the National Trust for places of historic interest or natural beauty as part of Project Neptune. The following year the priory was taken over by the Landmark Trust, who spent 20 years on restoration work, and now rent out the farmhouse as holiday accommodation. The surviving buildings include the Priory Church, which was a 15th century replacement for the earlier 13th century structure, infirmary, barn, and 16th century prior's lodging, which was converted into a farmhouse. The whole site was arranged around a central cloister from which only the east wall and west wall of the chapter house remain, the sacristy, refectory, chapter house, lady chapel and parlor having been demolished. The former district council and parliamentary constituency both took their name from the priory. The priory was founded in the early 13th century, and dedicated to Thomas Becket. The founder, William de Courtenay, was a grandson of Reginald Fitzurse, one of Becket's murderers. In 1849 a reliquary was found in St. Paul's Church, Stoke, that was believed to have come originally from the priory and to contain the blood of Thomas Becket. It is believed that it was moved to St. Paul's for safekeeping at the time of the dissolution of the monasteries and is now in the Museum of Somerset in Taunton. The first building had been completed by 1242 as it is described in a letter to Jocelyn of Wales. The foundation was confirmed by Edward II in 1325. It was home to a small community of Victorian canons. The Victorian order were originally founded at the Abbey of St. Victor, Paris, and founded St. Augustine's Abbey in Bristol, which became Bristol Cathedral. Members of the priory were influenced by the Cistercians, who emphasized manual labor and self-sufficiency so that the clerks who had taken holy orders worked on the farm. The priory also provided the clergy for the local parish church of St. Paul, Stoke. The priory, along with other religious houses such as Glastonbury Abbey and Wells Cathedral, was responsible for draining some of the mudflats and salt marshes of the Somerset levels. William de Courtenay gave the manors of Woodspring, Warlinlocking to the priory, however it was not rich for most of its existence, with William Button giving a legacy of 210 marks in 1277. In 1317, although the first church buildings were complete, however it had not been consecrated, and Bishop Drokensford therefore fined them 20 shillings. Further financial difficulties arose when, during the outbreak of the Black Death in 1348, they had to appoint successive clergy to local churches, and the church suffered a fire in the priory church. In the 15th and early 16th centuries an unknown benefactor enabled expansion and new building work to be undertaken. There is some speculation that some of the funding may have come from smugglers who were able to land their craft close to the priory and avoid customs duties. The priory church and the great barn were constructed along with the part of the prior's lodging.